What up guys, it's your girl T and I feel great. I feel so relieved because I just got rid of a lot of hair that needed to go. I was long overdue for a trim. I don't even remember the last time I trimmed, probably spring, summer of last year, so quite a while ago. And I always know it's time to trim, not just from how my ends look and feel, but because my detangling sessions get harder. I do have my magic potion, but not even that can always save me if my hair is so matted and knotted and in desperate need of some fresh ends. I also know it's been a really long time since I last trimmed because I started doing Curlformer sets maybe 3 quarters ago. So not quite a full year, but I know that even after the first Curlformer set, the light bulb went off and I knew that a Curlformer set would be a great starting point for a thorough trim because it gets my hair so stretched and almost straight that I can really examine my ends and see much better where I need to cut than I did in my old method of trimming. I do have a method on how I trim my hair without a Curlformer set, so I'll link that right here. It's an older video, but that was the method I've been using pretty much all along and it worked well enough. But having the Curlformer set this time around really allowed me to see that I needed to cut more hair than I typically do. So I wound up cutting anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, I would say. Typically closer to 2 and sometimes a little bit less. You know, my hair is different lengths throughout my head. My bangs are shorter, my nape's a little bit shorter, but the crown and sides are the longest. Indeed, I don't even have bangs on purpose. It's just that my hair breaks faster there and possibly also grows slower. I'm not too sure. My shave side is growing out. It's probably been half a year of that and it's finally long enough to be able to actually pull it up. I don't even have any pins in, which is nice. I just kind of tucked any pieces that kept popping out of my bun. This is thoroughly detangled hair as well as freshly trimmed hair, and it feels like such a relief. I'm actually looking forward to my next detangling session because I know it's going to be a lot easier than my last detangling session. There's nothing like fresh ends, let me tell you. I just want to show you guys how exactly I went about using the Curlformer set to trim my hair. You may see a little bit of residue in my hair from my Camille Rose Aloe Butter Cream that I use. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just used a little bit too much in some spots because I've used that before and I have not had product residue like showing up on my hair. And you can still see it in certain spots right now, but I'm not too pressed with it. Now in the video you're seeing here, I've already completed trimming the right side of my head. It went a lot faster because I didn't bother trimming any of the area that is the new growth from my shave side because it's only a few inches long and it's really easy to run my fingers through that whenever I detangle that. So I just kind of left that alone and focused on the longer hair. But then I moved on to the left side and showed you guys a little bit of that on camera, and you can see basically I just removed the Curlformer, and because my hair is so stretched and almost straight, I break one of my rules and I actually have been combing through my ends here. I found that as I went along trimming, it was helpful to really just smooth all the strands and I wasn't inflicting a ton of damage by using even a rat tail fine tooth comb. Because again, the Curlformers do such an extreme stretch on my hair heatlessly. I do want to experiment more with heat in the future. I even bought a flat iron last year that I showed you guys. But as we are in the midst of our Protect Your Ends, Protective Style challenge right now, I'm not allowed to. So that's going to continue waiting in the wings until I can actually use direct heat again. Basically what I would do was I would use each Curlformer as its own section of hair to trim, and it worked out pretty nicely. I did quite a few Curlformers in this set. I went beyond the 40 that comes in a typical pack, and I think I wound up using a total of 56 because remember I have the original pack of the pink and orange ones, and then since those are not long enough for most of my hair, I use those only in areas like my bangs, my nape again, which are shorter. And then I did use the second pack of my super long ones, which go up to 29 inches and are long enough for all of my hair. And I think I had somewhere in the neighborhood of 56 Curlformers in total, which served as my 56 little pieces of hair to trim. I would just remove the Curlformer, smooth it with my fingers on the bottom, and then if I felt the need to use the rat tail fine tooth comb, I did. I would say 2 times out of 3, maybe even more than that I did, probably more like 4 times out of 5 I did. And it was easy, you know, it was easy to use the rat tail comb on my hair, which is a unique experience for me and my texture of hair. With my hair being so stretched and straight from the Curlformers, it was pretty easy to just kind of really smooth all those strands on the bottom and Yeah, I ended up cutting more than I expected to. Typically when I trim my hair, you know, I either just do little searches and destroys where I'll snip out single strand knots and split ends and things. Or if I do a trim, I trim maybe 1/2 inch. But again, I typically am doing that on semi-stretched hair, but still relatively kinky hair. So maybe my perception of what I was trimming was maybe a little bit more than what it actually was. It's hard to say, but what I do know is I probably wasn't trimming enough overall, and that's why I had to go in and cut more this time than I expected. I'm not sad about it. I'd rather be done with ends that are doing more harm than good, and it was very obvious to me. I could see and I could feel the hair that needed to go. And ultimately, I didn't even lose that much hair, even though I cut off, you know, a few inches from each section. This is all the hair. Like, this is all of it. So I don't really think that's significant. I lose way more than this just detangling. I am so pleased to have discovered that the idea of using a Curlformer set to trim my hair worked out as well as I imagined it would now that I finally tried it. And unless there's like a time constraint or some other reason, I don't see myself trimming my hair any other way. But that's really it. I just wanted to share with you guys this revelation, and you know, my Curlformers experiments continue. They've been going on since last year. I'm still sort of like figuring out how to make them work for me. Sleeping in them is an absolute nightmare, and let me tell you, sleeping in as many as I did this time was maybe the worst night of sleep I can remember getting, at least in a very long time. I mean, having 56 in my head was way worse, not to mention I even had them, the shorter ones, on my shave side because that hair is now long enough to actually be inside of a Curlformer, so I went ahead and stretched that hair too so that it would all kind of blend together when I was ready to style. And obviously I just had my hair in, you know, just a quick bun. But I am so excited to have this sort of new trimming system because I feel like it's a lot more thorough, and as time goes on I won't need to trim as much so long as I stay on top of my trimming routine. I don't trim on any particular schedule, I just trim when I can tell I need to, and I definitely needed to. Suffice to say, I will not let it go quite as long next time around, especially since it's relatively easy to do when I can see my ends as clearly as I can with a Curlformer set. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know how you go about trimming your hair in the comment section. Do you do it yourself or do you have someone help you out? And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
That's some nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.